Welcome to Grandma's Verdict, and we invite you to watch a video with our new original story. Victoria and Simon had lost all hope of having a child. They didn't argue, but their relationship had noticeably soured. Simon was worried, she was worried. No one blamed the other. They were too well-mannered for that. But the doctors insisted that everything was fine, that it was rare, but it happens. And then one day at work, Victoria felt unwell. Her head was spinning, her vision was blurry. Her boss told her to go home and not to show her face until she felt better. Before we continue, please like this video, thank you. Victoria did just that. She came home, collapsed on the sofa and didn't move because if she didn't move, the nausea wasn't so bad. She mentally reviewed what she could have eaten to get poison, but she hadn't eaten anything special. Everything was as usual. Simon came home from work, saw his wife and rushed to her. "Vic, what's wrong with you? You're not just pale, you're green." "I'm fine, Simon. I must have eaten something. My boss sent me home." "And how long have you been lying like this?" Victoria shrugged. "Since lunch, I guess." "Are you crazy? Why didn't you call me?" "Get up, we're going to the hospital." Victoria knew it was useless to argue. 2 hours of agony in the hospital later, they were invited into an office. The doctor was smiling. Victoria was tired and hungry. Her mood was terrible and he was grinning. She barely restrained herself from telling him off, but the doctor beat her to it. "Well, congratulations." She and Simon exchanged glances. Her husband cautiously asked, "With what?" "You're pregnant. The term is short, of course, but..." Simon just sat down. Victoria stared at the doctor, confused. "It can't be." "It can, and it is." Victoria, clenching her teeth, tried to hold back a moan. The contractions had started suddenly. She was mentally prepared, of course, but not physically. And she couldn't have imagined how painful it would all be. "Vic, hang in there just a little longer." Simon was steering with one hand and holding her hand with the other. "I'm trying, Simon, but please just a little faster." They were already waiting for them. Simon had called ahead. A nurse was standing at the entrance. It took about 15 minutes to fill out the paperwork. Simon was on edge. "Why is it taking so long? Can't you fill out these papers later? Can't you see she's in a bad way?" "Sir, please calm down. You're not the first, and you won't be the last." The door to the emergency room opened, and a doctor came out. "Who's making all the noise here?" "Victoria." Victoria looked up in surprise. "Rebecca." "Oh, Simon, you're here too." "Rebecca." Simon jumped up. "Rebecca, please do something. Victoria is in a very bad way, and these people are just filling out their papers." Rebecca smiled. "Don't worry, everything will be fine." "Well, Vic, let's go." Rebecca wasn't exactly her friend. They had once lived in the same courtyard, had hung out, and had met Simon and his friend together. It just so happened that Victoria started dating Simon, and Rebecca with that other guy. Then Victoria and Simon got married and they broke up. It seemed there were no more reasons to keep in touch. They would send each other picture greetings on social media for the holidays. But that was it. Victoria was scared. Very scared. She knew something was wrong. Couldn't be this painful. If it were like this for everyone, no one would ever give birth. Margarita entered the ward. "They're taking you to the operating room now. Don't worry. By the way, did they tell you that a C-section was possible?" "Yes, they did." "Good. Everything will be fine." While they were wheeling her to the operating room, Rebecca walked beside her. "How are things? How are you living?" "Everything's fine. Simon has a company, I work as a designer so I don't get bored at home." "And you?" Rebecca waved her hand. "Nothing special. I was married twice. The first one beat me, the second one beat me. So I'm a free bird now." "Oh, well, I hope everything will be fine." Rebecca turned to her, looked at her for a long time, then nodded. "I have no doubt about that." Victoria was trying to pull herself out of something sticky, cold and heavy. She could hear voices, she was reaching for them. But the swamp was holding her. Then she finally managed to open her eyes and immediately saw Simon. His eyes were wet. Victoria, shush, lie down. I'll call the doctor now. She wanted to ask what had happened to the baby, but she didn't seem to have the strength. Some man in a white coat appeared, measured something, gave some orders to someone, and Victoria drifted away again. But this time into a sleep. She finally came to her senses only 2 days later. She was transferred to a ward, but no one said anything about the baby. Simon came to see her. Victoria sat up. What's going on? Why aren't they telling me anything about our little girl? Have you seen her? He silently sat on a chair by the bed and didn't even kiss her. Our little girl died. The doctor's mistake. I can't. I don't want anything more. You can call me a pig, but as soon as you're discharged, I'm filing for a divorce. I don't blame you for anything, but we can't be together anymore. I think you won't be able to either. She screamed. Simon finally hugged her, and they cried together for a long time. Victoria was pacing the apartment. It had been 2 weeks since they had divorced. Simon had moved into his parents' apartment, said that he was leaving their shared one to her, and hugged her goodbye. I'm sorry, but I can't anymore. I'm broken. But if you ever need help, call me. Okay, Simon. Good luck to you. You too. Victoria stopped. No, she couldn't stay here anymore. She couldn't see happy people with children. She wanted to go somewhere where there was no one at all, so she wouldn't have to see anyone. She searched for a long time for something that would suit her. Finally, she found it. She rented out her apartment to some good, decent people, and she herself got on a train and went to a place where there were no people. Not too far from the city, but still the wilderness. 5 years passed. Victoria never thought that she, a designer with a higher education, would become a forest ranger. It turns out that women were also in this profession. Not many, but they were there. For 3 years now, she had been a ranger. She monitored logging, animals, and even poachers. The latter, by the way, were afraid of her. Victoria was always stern and uncompromising. The small house that she had once bought had turned into a real fortress. The villagers, who at first had tried to befriend her and find out at least something about her, had long since given up. She had practically no contact with anyone. Sometimes she would go to the store, and if she met someone, she would greet them briefly. In a village, this is not customary, of course. After all, whoever met, usually at least for a minute, would linger to ask how your health is, how the potatoes are growing, and all that. Victoria was not interested in such conversations, and she, nodding, would hurry past, pretending not to notice their desire to talk. Spring was in full bloom outside. She loved this time. It was here in the wilderness that she had come to love it. It was so pleasant to watch everything come to life and wake up. Sometimes it seemed to her that in the evening she could hear millions of buds bursting, from which small leaves were jumping out into the light. Victoria decided to take up gardening. Yes, she had a garden. It just so happened that in the first year she had sown some greens, in the second she had added flowers, some vegetables, and now she had a full-fledged garden with bushes and young apple trees. To develop all this, she had not turned to the locals, which greatly surprised the local men. She hadn't seen Simon since they had parted at the apartment door. But they regularly called each other, congratulated each other on their birthdays, and asked how things were. Victoria would cry for a long time after these conversations, but she never admitted it. Although, judging by her ex-husband's voice, he wasn't feeling his best either. She was so absorbed in her work that she didn't hear the phone ring at first. Strange, but it was Simon. Her birthday was in a month. His was in the winter. Could something have happened? Hello. Victoria, don't be scared, nothing's happened. You see, I probably did the wrong thing, so I decided to warn you. Rebecca was asking for your address. I really couldn't get it out of her why she needed it, and I don't know how I gave it to her. I wonder what she wants. I don't know. The thing is, after everything happened, Rebecca often called me, invited me somewhere. But how can I put it, I guess I didn't live up to her expectations because I wasn't ready for a new relationship. Maybe that's why. A pang went through Victoria's heart at his admission. She hadn't thought of that. I didn't think so either. She hadn't been dating Max for long, and then so much attention. I understand. Thank you. How are you anyway? You won't believe it. I'm sowing carrots. Sowing? In the ground. Well, yes. And what? Will it grow? Of course. I have a very decent garden here. And I also preserve all sorts of pickles now. And what about your education? Your calling? You know, sometimes it seems to me that all that wasn't real. But this here is mine. I'm calm here. And when I feel bad, I just go into the forest. The forest takes away the pain. You say it in such a way that I'm almost jealous of you. Victoria could barely hold back from saying, "Come and visit." They said their goodbyes. Victoria was smiling all evening. She had completely forgotten about Rebecca. She was only thinking about how long it had been since she had spoken to Simon. They usually just said their congratulations and goodbyes. And in the evening, when she was already getting ready for bed, she suddenly heard someone knocking at the gate. And it was as if that someone was crying. She ran outside. The dog was standing in front of the gate, looking at it with a kind of confusion. But it was silent. "Why aren't you barking?" Victoria fearlessly opened the gate. Her dog was big and smart. And if anything, her rifle was in the hallway. A little girl was crying in front of the gate. "My God, where did you come from, here in the woods?" "My aunt brought me. She said if I walked straight I would come to a village. But I got lost." "What aunt? What village?" "I don't know." The girl was hiccuping and trembling. "Come on into the house. Don't be afraid, everything will be fine. We'll sort everything out." The girl obediently followed her. Victoria gave her some water and sat down across from her. It was obvious that someone was looking for the child. When the girl had calmed down a bit, Victoria felt a strange sensation. She was looking at the child and seeing herself. She even shook her head. "Tell me, who do you live with?" "I lived with my grandmother. My grandmother is mean, she always said I was like last year's snow to her. Sometimes my aunt would come, my grandmother's daughter. She would bring food, clothes, but she didn't love me either. She said that I was supposed to help her, but I only got in her way." "What a horror! And how did you end up here?" "My grandmother got sick. My aunt came and took me. I lived in such a beautiful apartment in such a big house. And then she brought me here and told me to walk straight. I don't understand anything. And what's your aunt's name?" "Aunt Rebecca." Victoria slowly sank onto the sofa. It was hard to breathe. "And what about your parents?" "My aunt said they didn't need me." Victoria couldn't say a word. She knew that her mind was exploding. The thoughts that were forming there were so frightening that she was on the verge of going mad. "Are you hungry?" "Very." Victoria sat the girl at the table, served her dinner, and made some tea. "I'll be back in a minute, I'll just close the gate." The girl, engrossed in her food, nodded silently. Victoria, running outside, dialed a number with a trembling hand. "Simon, Simon, I'm so sorry. Please come as soon as you can. I'm going crazy." "Victoria, what happened?" "Where should I go?" "To my place, Simon." "I know it can't be, but our daughter came to me." "What?" "Simon. Just get in the car. I'm waiting for you." The girl's name was Olivia. She ate, started to nod off, and Victoria put her to bed on the sofa. And then she sang her a lullaby. She had once memorized many of them in anticipation of her daughter. Simon arrived before dawn. Victoria saw the headlights in the window. The dog barked. She ran out and threw herself into his arms. "Simon, I'm going crazy. So there's no one here. I understand, right?" "Wrong. Come on, I'll introduce you to her." Olivia woke up, sat on the bed and blinked. Simon went, stopped. "Victoria, she's the spitting image of you." The investigation began immediately after the DNA results came back. Olivia was indeed their daughter. And Aunt Rebecca was the same Rebecca who had always wanted not Max, but Simon. She had decided that after losing a child, Simon would surely leave Victoria. And then she would have her chance. She had calculated everything correctly, except for one thing. People sometimes get divorced, but they don't stop loving each other. Rebecca was screaming at the trial. She looked like a madwoman. which, in principle, the examination later confirmed. Olivia was slowly walking around their apartment. Wow, are we going to live here? Yes, my dear. This will be your beautiful room when Dad finishes the renovations. And over there, you see that red building? That will be your school. Olivia suddenly turned to her and hugged her. Mommy, it's not true, is it, that you didn't need me? It's not true because you were stolen from us and we couldn't find you. And we needed you very much, and Dad and I cried a lot. Olivia sighed, pressed herself closer and smiled. If you enjoyed the story, please support me with a subscribe button. Also, please write if you like this story. Your opinion is very important to me.